welcome in, welcome in to the podcast tonight. You guys, I have a treat for you. We're going to recap some Azriel, Clary, and R. Kelly stories, and then we are going to do a little bit of fan fiction. And I'm going to tell you guys where Azriel Clary is today and what she has going on. And yeah, it is going to be a fun little night. So tonight is fan fiction night. However, we're going to play one of my interviews with as someone that knows Azriel and what she was doing in Dubai. I'm going to play one of my post interview videos first. I have a lot going on in this video, this first video. Let me just let y'all know that off the top. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try my best not to keep stopping them, but the reason being is because I'm gonna be moving around while you guys are watching the video. I'm coming from a long walk and I'm a little bit nauseated, but I wanted to make sure that I got the podcast up for the night. So I need to put something in my belly and drink a little bit of water so I can be okay. But I want to let these videos play in the meantime. So let's get over here. Hold on, I will be right back with that link. Hold on. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I need to click off. I can just go straight over here because I have you guys on my entire screen. So let's go right here, and we're just going to go down to let's go post Jonjolin and Tim interview. Wait a minute. Where's the link? Uh-oh. All right, I didn't paste the link. We got to go right here. And this one is long enough. I'll play the other one on another video. And so we'll just play this one and we'll go into our fan fiction. This is going to be fun. Wait till y'all see the story I prepared. I'm going to read it all the way through, but it's so funny. Anyway, you guys will read it with me. It's on Chat GPT. We'll talk about it. Here's the interview. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I got to go give myself access. Hold on right quick. Hold on real quick, y'all. I'm on literally 4 phones. And I'm going to give myself access to this right now. Hold on 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. All right, we are back. Okay, let's get over here and wait a minute. Where were we? Hold on. Let me pause y'all one more time. Hold on. All right, you guys, we are back. Please excuse me for this. I am truly trying to get it together. Give me 5 seconds, y'all. Hold on. All right, here we are. I'm going to let it play. This was the last thing that we heard about Azriel Clary. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to, well, from me, last thing we heard from me. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to do some fan fiction. This fan fiction story I prepared for us, and then I'm going to tell you guys where Azriel Clary is today. We're starting with Azriel. We're going to go through much of this. We're going to go through the stories. I'm going to walk it down as much as I can. That's how we're going to do that. Y'all get the likes up, get the likes up, get the likes up. I'm gonna just try to fast forward just a little bit. Hold on. Here we go. Hey, period. Face. Yes, I'm going to show my face and my nails. Ow. Tonight. Okay. So, hey guys, and thank you so much for joining me here. Listen, I feel two different types of ways about this scenario, you guys. I have receipts. I have receipts. Okay. And I feel two different types of ways about this. I feel sad for Azriel because as we're going to read the court documents for the Kelly case tonight, we do have the full document. We are going to read the full document. And as hey Mario, and as I read through the document, I feel sorry for her. I do realize that her parents played a major part in her being given over to pretty much being given away to a grown man. I mean, it's just there's no other way to cut it. There's no other way to put it. It's really, really a very unfortunate thing when you have, parents that try to spearhead themselves and live vicariously through their children, and it's at the expense of their child's psychological state. So as we know, the Clarys were having a very hard time with Azriel, not having an easy time at all. She was already on, and this is the part that gets me about the Clarys. The girl was already on psych meds. She had already wanted to not be here, with us. So she was already in kind of like a sunken space as a teenager. And for her to have been handled by her own parents and entities that be that way is just sad. Okay. What I want you guys to do right now, if you have a Facebook, if you have a TikTok, wherever you have a platform that you can share this video, I want you to copy the link and go share the video. Okay. That's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a minute to do just that. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do just that. Take the link from this video and go share it. Ready? Go. All right, and we are back. We are back. We are back. Let me go ahead and share a screen picture, a screen grab of the young lady that is in question. This is one of the young ladies who was so by R. Kelly's side. She was so, if you guys believe this, you're stupid, and all that stuff that she was doing, only for her to turn around and then say the same things that the girls before her were saying. And so many things had come out during the trial. Hold on. Let me post. I'm sharing my own. Hashtag. Make sure y'all hashtag now. Okay. In Dubai. This folding phone, y'all. Sometimes it'd be hard to type on. Okay, when you have it folded like this. So clipboard, there it is. And boom out. All right, so I've done my own part for my own self. And we're gonna get into it. I have receipts, I have audio, I have I have receipts. Okay, we're just gonna put it like that. So, when Azriel first came out and she was so gung-ho defending R. Kelly, I thought to myself, she's really making the world question the authenticity of the other victims, and it really made you take a second, double look how passionate she was about that and say, well, dang, are they lying? Because is this cloud chasing? Because this young lady and this other young lady have said the exact opposite of what these people were saying. This young lady, Azriel Clary, cast her own doubt on her own self and then got upset that people doubted her in the long run. And so that's why I don't feel sorry for her. And a lot of people say, oh, well, she was a victim of, this, that, and the other. She was a victim. It was Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome doesn't do what she's doing right now and taking the opportunity and turning it over. Stockholm syndrome is a syndrome, which means that she doesn't have Stockholm syndrome, because if she did, she wouldn't be behaving is right now. She would still be trying to get to the person that victimized her, such as that young lady who was kidnapped from her mother at birth and then still wanted to be with the woman. Even now, still, she's rejecting her own birth mother, to be with her, her abductor. That's Stockholm syndrome. It's serious, a serious thing. And I think too many people are using that too loosely when it comes to Azriel Clary. She does not have Stockholm syndrome. This is not what Stockholm syndrome looks like, okay? And I believe the young lady's name is Alexis Murphy, abducted. Is that her name? No, that's the wrong story. That's the wrong person. What's her name? Who was the young lady that was abducted from birth and raised by her kidnapper?
According to Yahoo,
Kamaya Mobley. Kamaya Mobley has Stockholm syndrome. She even still right now is going to that jailhouse, visiting that abductor, somebody that committed a heinous crime against her mother, because she has Stockholm syndrome. Thank you. Hi, Kimberly. Nice to see you, baby. Nice to see you here. I'm glad you joined us. So, guys, I don't want to use that Stockholm thing too loosely when it comes to Azriel Clary, because, again, that is not what we are seeing in this case. And I just want to make sure that you guys know that that's all the way thrown out the window as far as I'm concerned, okay? So things that we're going to do here tonight, we are going to first hear the receipts that Azriel Clary is street walking in Dubai, that she has street walked. Y'all know what that means. Parast. Ooh. Shun. Okay, ooh, that's horrible. And then we're going to read the court docket from the court case that she was involved in with R. Kelly. And I'm doing it in that specific order because it's late. And I know that people, they want to know the tea, but they also need to go to bed for work tomorrow. So I'm just doing it in that order because it's late. Otherwise, I would do it like these other bloggers and make you wait. But I'm not going to do that to you tonight, okay? But I feel one of two ways about this young lady. Like I was saying, I feel sorry for her. Because of the way that her parents basically pimped her out, basically. To have given your daughter to any grown man. I don't give a damn who he is. My daughter can't do. Just because there's a chance that you might have done what those people said you did. There's a chance that you might start being attracted to my daughter. There's a chance that you might, stop my contact with my child. There's chances that you take when you do stuff like that. And I think that for them to know the position that he was in, as far as like the case with Rashonda Landfair and all that stuff, I think it's gross. This girl had so much potential, right? And so I think it's gross the way they went about moving in regards to their child. Sorry, y'all, I just got a brand new tattoo and it hurts. Okay. And so I'm just very disappointed. Just this whole thing is just highly disappointing. It's just gross. It's just so messed up on so many different levels, I tell you. And I think that her parents felt like they needed to come to the public and they needed to start going against R. Kelly so that it can look like they weren't involved, even though they were. Okay. I think that they were afraid for people to be saying the type of stuff that they're saying right now. And I think, and I think that it's gross when you start putting all the facts together and you see that they had a conversation with R. Kelly and they released documents for her to be with him. And then all of a sudden now they're like, oh, we never wanted our daughter with you. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a complete, utter, and it's a blatantly disrespectful, in my face lie. Understand? And I don't like it. I don't like being lied to. If you felt like you couldn't handle your daughter and you felt like you just wanted her out of the house, because the fact of the matter is this young lady doesn't get along with her mother. And her father is still married to her mother. Right, Miss Social? Miss Social said her mom is the worst. It's tell, right. Her mother doesn't even like her. She don't like her mama. She doesn't even call her mother. If you watch Shabazz's documentary, she calls her mother my dad's wife. And that woman bore her. So, and these things happen. That's why I was saying on my backup channel earlier, if you have a mom that is supportive towards you and that that you can look for love and protection and direction, then make sure you cuff her this Mother's Day on 2022. Okay, because we don't know what the world is coming to with all these wars and everything else that's going on. It's a mess out here in these streets. You heard? Okay, but I really honestly feel like her mom wanted her out the house and they didn't know no other option to get her the hell out. And they saw an opportunity to get her out the house and she was out of there. Okay, so this is what my thoughts are based on some of the things that I've seen from her and her father. Now she will and is currently speaking to her father, but she will not speak to her mom. She doesn't come around them as often, allegedly, because of the mom. And but she said that she did get therapy. She said she took therapy after this situation. And it's just really unfortunate. The fact of the matter is that she was in therapy before the situation and her parents still did. So that's the fact of the matter. It's really, really sad that a parent would pimp their daughter out to someone that they know have existing things going on with them that are just so disparaging in that way. and in that manner where it's sexual. You know what I'm saying? That's really gross. So for the people who don't want to sit on here for the document read, let me go ahead and share to you guys what I have, and then I have audio. So allegedly and apparently, Azriel Clary, she has been traveling the world, and she's been traveling. We thought for business, we thought for peace. Well, it turns out that she's been traveling for other reasons as well. Azriel Clary has been using her body to make money. And there's one person that not only can attest that she has been using her body to make money, but that she has stolen money from before she left Dubai. She went to Dubai and she stole money from this person and left. And he's very upset. Now, I have 3 audios from him. He does have an accent because he is from Dubai. So you have to listen very closely, and I'm going to play them twice. But I'm going to read to you guys what was said to me. Okay? All right. This bitch, Azriel Clary, stole money off me when she was over in Dubai at the end of 2020. She also tried to convince me to let her work from my apartment as an escort, which I would never allow. And that's exactly why we fell out. Also, I wasn't wanting to be around someone who was all into the secrecy of having a hidden friendship because of her line of work. And why she came over here in the first place, ? I believe her father was behind her coming here in some capacity because he was always on the phone with her and tried to threaten me once. Now, that's just the first message. Okay? Now, in that first message, okay, it's already been said that she's not only worked as an escort in Dubai, but that she wanted to use somebody's apartment to do it. Now, what's crazy about that is she's in somebody's apartment right now. And, you know, I thought, and she represents it online like it's her apartment. But it turns out that it's somebody else that lives there. And so it was awkward to me how she came from the situation with R. Kelly. She had nothing. And I do mean nothing. No money, no job, no experience. Nothing. She began to live with her parents. She didn't go to school. She didn't start working. She didn't do anything but start rapping. Even on YouTube, she don't want to tell us everything. So she would make a YouTube video saying, I'm going to be telling you guys everything, and then didn't. You understand what I'm saying? She hasn't tried to write a book. She hasn't tried to do anything for money. So except for her rapping, which you have to spend money on. So there's no job. There's nothing going on. Right. And then all of a sudden, she suddenly moves into this big ass place with this nice security, and a man lives there. Who is that man? So perhaps maybe that's not her place. And perhaps and maybe she might be escorting out of his house. Who knows? But you know what makes sense? When she came out of being with R. Kelly, all of the sexual pictures and the sexual posts and her posing in lingerie. And that makes so much more sense because I was concerned like, wow, what the fuck is going on here? It threw me off a little bit. All of the, showing her titties and all that, it threw me off a little bit. And I was like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? But now knowing that is working as a sex worker, that makes more sense. Her posts now make more sense. It's like a stripper. When you see a stripper on social media, you're going to see them do some stripper shit. Well, now this makes a lot more sense. Hey, David. This makes a lot more sense as to why we were seeing her be promiscuous as she was coming off of that. And especially when she first moved into this damn apartment, she was standing in the kitchen with her titties out. You know what I'm saying? And on live. And so it made so much more sense once I heard that post. So here's what else was said. Wait. I skipped a part before I go on to the other one. I love you too, babe. This man suggests that Clary was constantly on the phone with Azriel while she was street walking in Dubai. And he feels like he's the one that sent her to do it. You know, I get the vibe from Clary that whatever it is that Azriel do, that he's going to be down with it as long as she make a little money or got a little fame behind it. That is my true and honest feelings about his relationship with his daughter, even down to the point where he will allow her to disrespect his wife without checking her. You know, it's just something that's just so off with their relationship. It's just very, very off. It just really is. Okay, you know, any parents that'll give their kids over to a grown man, I don't know. I have to question every motherfucking thing because So he says she is now effectively barred. She's barred from coming back to Dubai, as I reported the theft and made them aware that she was working as an escort in and around the marina area, and they shared the information with all the main hotels. I'm sure they were able to corroborate it with profiles online she was using at the time. She is not a victim. She was only ever obsessed with getting verified on Instagram. She was here and didn't speak or come across as someone who was deeply traumatized, considering she was meeting up with loads of men. And I believe she's doing the same thing in Miami right now. I'm just glad she can't come back to Dubai because now she's a known sex worker out here. Everyone knows she's a sex worker in Dubai. Well, I'll be. And you know what, Reese? If she was groomed, right, she's no longer under him working as his sex worker. Right. So she should know to, first of all, if you're going to come online and play victim and then half the time be naked, you should know that there's people are going to find inconsistencies and try to figure out what's going on with you. Also, you need to find a real job. You no longer have to be on your back. He is hurt, reality check, because she stole a lot of money from him. Before she left Dubai, she stole money from him. And that's the reason why he went to the police and told them that she's coming out there to do sex work and got her ass banned from coming back to Dubai. She can't go back to Dubai. He is very hurt. He tried to help her. Thank you. He tried to help her and she came out there and stole from him. So he's very mad. He's very upset. And he made sure she wasn't going to be able to bring her ass back. Okay. So, and now he's saying that everyone knows, the people around Dubai know her and know that she is a sex worker. Now, one thing about it is that she doesn't have the celebrity, that's what you want to call it, that she has in America, in Dubai. So it's certain things that she can go out there and get away with, that if I saw her ass walking on Figaro, I don't give a damn. I'm following you with my camera on live. And if you want to fight, you going to jail because I don't fight no more. Okay? Period. All right. So I said, and what is your position in her life? Ex-friend, ex-lover? And he said, I wouldn't even call her my friend. She was just basically someone who wormed her way into my life while visiting me, and let me send you some background. So here is, okay, I'm going to catch you on Hoover and motherfucking, look, on Figaro and Manchester ass prostitute, reality check, okay? Don't let me catch your ass walking up and down Fig, okay? Vernon, Sunset, don't let me, all right? Anyway, so here is the audio receipts from the person that allowed her to stay with them in Dubai. This is a person, he's very upset with her. She asked him if she can prostitute out of his house, and he told her no. And then she stole a bunch of his money and left. Okay? All right. Right. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I'm angry. I want people to know. Like, people obviously know a lot about this girl already, but I want people to know that she is an escort. There's no denying that this is a sex trade that she's in.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure you guys can hear that. I might have to play it from my Z Flip because this phone is just dumb loud for no reason. So I might have to play it from here. Can you guys hear that? I'm going to play it back twice, but could you guys hear that? Hold on, let me check. Were you guys hearing that okay?
I don't feel anything at all. Before Claire Brilliant.
Once a hoe, always a hoe. Right.
An acne scar.
Her boyfriend
from chemical peels
attested in the interview that's the way she likes sex anal. Ooh. See, I can see you guys' posts, and I'm just now going to...
What it does is it punches millions of microvascular.
Hold on, let me give Yusuf a wrench so he can moderate. Hold on. Add moderator. All right. So Yusuf, can you moderate the comments that I can't see right now because
don't let me catch your ass walking up and down.
Yusuf, are you still here?
Don't let me.
So like that comment right now by Melissa.
So
if you're here, can you moderate? I don't think he's here. Okay. You can do it from your phone. Hold on, I just want to make sure you guys can hear.
Prostitute out of his house, and he told her no.
You see how much louder this is?
A bunch of his money and left. Okay. All right. Right. All right. Here we go.
No. Don't start deleting comments that don't need to be deleted. Melissa Sanchez, there was no reason for you to delete that.
There's no denying that this is a sex trade that she's in.
Melissa, I undeleted that. Make sure you guys can hear that. I might have to play it from my Z Flip because this. Okay. All right. Hold on. So, Melissa, I undeleted your stuff. Sorry about that. Yusuf said his screen is cracked. So, Yusuf, be careful. I don't want you deleting people unless they're disparaging me. I don't care if they disparage her. This is not her channel. Okay? No. Yusuf accidentally deleted your comments, Melissa. See, you can't see because you're not a moderator. He and I can see behind what you're seeing. That's what happens when you're a moderator. The view is different. Okay? All right, let me get to, I'm going to play it like this, y'all. So let me put my Z Flip right here. That's okay, baby. I got you, Yusuf. I know. All right, here we go. What the hell? Hold on, y'all. Oh, Lord. Now this thing want to be tripping with me. Ooh. If it ain't one thing, it's the next, y'all. Hold on. Let me pull it together. I'm not sure why it won't play, but I'm getting irritated now. It's about to just get played from the computer. Everybody just gonna have to be quiet. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna just have to be real quiet and just let y'all listen in.
She came over to Dubai with a paid flight for by some guy that she met. I don't know who it was. It was all very secret encounters, no pictures or videos being taken. She also steals other girls' pictures. This is something that was openly discussed in front of me and to me. She steals other girls' pictures and uses their pictures on her escorting profile so that obviously she can't be identified, which apparently is quite a common trait that, you know, people use other people's pictures, but she would show pictures and stuff, and, oh, do you think that looks like me? Could that pass as me if I just kind of change this and change that? So I'm angry for a lot of reasons.
So did you guys just hear that? I'm going to play that one more time, but let me just tell you what you listened to. He said she came over here. Some dude bought her a ticket to come out to Dubai to be an escort. She uses other girls' pictures that look a little bit like her so that she can't be identified on her escorting profiles. She's catfishing people with other people's pictures that look a little bit like her. She might modify the picture to, you know, squeeze the eyes or something to make it look a little different. So it's not like she took somebody's particular picture. But she's taking pictures, tweaking them to make them look a little bit like her. And so she does, so people don't think that, you know, she's catfishing them when they see her and using them so she can't be identified as Azriel Clary when she goes on her dates. I'm going to play that one more time.
Yeah, I'm angry. I want people to know. Like, people obviously know a lot about this girl already, but I want people to know that she is an escort. There's no denying that this is a sex trade that she's in. And she came over to Dubai with a paid flight by some guy that she met. I don't know who it was. It was all very secret encounters, no pictures or videos being taken. She also steals other girls' pictures. This is something that was openly discussed in front of me, in the presence of me. She steals other girls' pictures and uses their pictures on her escorting profile so that obviously she can't be identified, which apparently is quite a common trait that, you know, people use other people's pictures. But she would show me pictures and stuff, and, oh, do you think that looks like me? Could that pass as me if I just kind of change this and change that? So I'm angry for a lot of reasons.
So as you guys can hear, he says there's no denying that she's in a sex trade. And when he said that part, you know, it really made me think about her mom and dad. I'm starting to think that perhaps they need to be arrested, because I'm thinking that her sex trade career started at home. Okay. That's just the guy, honest truth, how I feel. All right, moving on to the next one.
Minded that the money that was stolen from me obviously was never recovered. It was just nomical amount of money, but at the end of the day, it's the principle more than anything else. I don't think she'll come back over here, because I don't think she's got the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think she's of any kind of commercial value over here, even if she's pretending to be other people and whatever. So I just want people to know. And the threatening phone call that I got from her father as well, I think he's the dominating force behind her getting into this industry, not the music industry and all the stuff that's been reported about her. The dominating industry, getting into, you know, working as an escort, or wants to call herself. That's who this person is. Sick, twisted, warped. Was also going through, this was another thing as well I wanted to tell you, she was going through videos.
So, ooh-wee. So he says that she didn't do well escorting in Dubai. She doesn't have, instead of him saying she doesn't have the look that they want her to have as an escort in Dubai, like she's not, I don't know. To me, I don't think she's pretty at all. You might think she's pretty, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? So, and people in Dubai, you got to realize, like, these are the type of things she was doing when she got out of that situation. And I was like, why is she, wait a minute, what is going on? She started sex working. I didn't realize it, because she went from being so covered up with him to now she's showing all her butt, her titties and everything. She feels the need to be, you know what I'm saying, in her camera with her body. It was just weird to me. She made a serious change. If you look at her here on Gayle King, talking to Gayle King, she's fully covered up, turtleneck on, you know. Then she goes, after she gets out, and she's showing her complete ass. I'm talking about the whole ass and titties. And it was just like, why? It was just like, why? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you want to be showing your butt. I don't get it. So anyway, so he says she stole money from him and he's upset. And that's the reason why he, eventually went and got her barred from coming back over there. But he said he don't think she'll come back over there anyway, because not only did she steal money and everybody over there knows her as a prostitute, probably because it's not that many people that look like her walking around there. I'm just guessing. Okay. I've never been to Dubai. I'm planning to go soon. Okay. But also because she wasn't making a good enough amount of money over there. She doesn't have the look. And so he called it commercial value. And so that's why she stole from him. You know what I'm saying? She needed money. She went out there for money. I think she probably just didn't want to leave empty-handed or low-handed. You know what I'm saying? She had to go back and do what she had to do. LC, right, get a job. Exactly, Centrail. Go get a job, honey. This update is explosive. Sounds like she is astute in sexualizing herself for money. I'm telling you, some of the stuff I saw on her profile, we're going to go look at it when I finish this. Hopefully she's made some changes, but I don't know. He also says she has secret profiles and she has catfishing profiles as well. Thank you so much, Maud Yusuf. All right. Let's hear the third one.
We've gone through videos of people who were doing interviews, and basically people who'd been through like sex abuse or been victims of crimes, and she was watching them like repeatedly, and it was like, why are you watching this? Like, are you interested in the story? It was all unrelated to the situation that she was involved in herself. And I think in hindsight, looking back, she was watching these videos because she wanted to get an education on how to present herself when she was ever doing future interviews, how to act on cue, how to speak, how to talk, how to maybe imitate and recite some of the things that she had heard other people talk with regards to being victims of abuse. So it's all very, very contrived. But I would be happy to speak about it because I have no emotional connection to this whatsoever, and I think that the escorting thing, if it's out there, then it may prevent her from working as an escort. And in my eyes, I would see that as her not, well, I've not got the money back that she's stolen from me, so I'm preventing her from doing what she's doing, which is scamming other people.
Okay, so you guys heard what he just said. He just basically said that give me a second, I'll answer that for you. Just basically said that she would sit up and watch victims' stories over and over again. And she's pretty much watching that so that she can make them and their, like get an education about how to present herself as a victim. She would sit there and just watch people crying and, explaining what went on with them. He also offered me an interview, so you guys may see him very soon. In that audio, he said he would love to sit down. He just wants to make people aware of what's going on. And more. And listen. If you have to work as a prostitute, do what you have to do. But to sit up and lie to the world about who you are, and you're presenting yourself one way when you're really a different way, just say that your parents, that you're a prostitute. Just say that you're a prostitute and it started at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, be honest with people. This girl set up on my live the other day and said that she was a role model for some girl. And I said, role model? Role model to who? And I think I said it just like that. And that's how this man got in contact with me. He was on Instagram and put that in his story and was laughing at it. And then I liked it. And then he was like, so look, let me tell you this. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, definitely not a role model. You know, definitely is a no for him. So, like I said, Azriel, I'm praying for her. I feel like she's messed up. By the time she is an old woman, she's going to be used up, bruised up. It's going to be bad. Po thing. Right. To who? Right. Stealing money is bad karma. Stealing, period, is bad karma. I can't stand no thief. I refuse to steal. If God didn't give it to me, then I must not need it. Shit, I might be using my money for shit I don't need it for. Who knows why I didn't get that blessing? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I honestly think that Azriel Clary is getting money to pay whomever place that she lives in. There's someone else in that place with her. And she claims that it's this big place. She says she got a weapon just in case people try to come stalk her. I mean, there's a lot of things that she said in that video ooh. And that is so sad. And I feel like she was high. She sat there combing her hair for the entire hour and a half that she was talking. She was combing her hair the entire time. So I just feel like there's something going on with the young woman. Catfishing is not okay. Using other people's profile pictures, even if you tweak the face, is not okay. Tell the truth about who you are. If you're a prostitute, go get some help. Go get a job. It's just, girl. I mean, life is just so hard, it's just so hard. Thank you, Elsie, hanging in there. So that's the reason why I wanted to do this, the receipts first before I went into the document read, okay? So y'all pray for that girl. Let's go into the damn document read because, child, I ain't got the time for this street walking asshole, okay? I'm just playing, y'all. Let's see. Okay. Whew. All right. Shoot. I'm trying to figure out how I can see my screen and then plus see all y'all. This girl, she's a liar. She's a liar. And she needs serious help. Like, it's beyond what we even know. She's a liar. Her parents are liars. They set this whole thing up. Azriel is a full-blown thief and a liar, and that's why she stole R. Kelly's trophies off of his wall before she left. She's just a liar. She's a liar and a thief, and a prostitute. And her and her parents set this whole thing up. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She sat on Gayle King and called everybody stupid. And who are you and what you look like? Ya mammy. Ya mammy, bitch. Okay. All right. United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, United States of America versus Robert Sylvester Kelly, also known as R. Kelly, the defendant. Defendant Robert Kelly's reply in a response to the government's memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion for judgment of an acquittal. So this was filed today. I'm sorry, because it's the 5th now. Sorry. Filed yesterday. Happy birthday, Nani.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's 12 o'clock on the East Coast, so it's my baby birthday, period. So this was filed 4/4/22 for those of us still on Pacific Standard Time. And it was filed yesterday for those of you who are on the East Coast, okay? All right, this is 22 pages. So argument, he's requested an acquittal, okay? The argument. The government failed to prove the defendant guilty of the offense of racketeering, count 1, where there was no common purpose to carry out a fraudulent course of conduct. The government did not establish an enterprise. You know, I find that to be true. They did not establish other people that worked for him, that were not willing to speak against him. It wasn't like they established a real, true racketeering enterprise. That's facts. It was all like R. Kelly was doing this. Oh, he was doing this. When I was working for him, it was weird as hell. He would do this. He would do that. It wasn't like, he was paying these people. He wasn't even paying people. That right there is already okay. This is not an established enterprise. So that part is actually true. B, the government's evidence of an enterprise distinct from the defendant was wanting. Now, I don't know what that means. I might have to have an expert come back on here with us, y'all, to really talk us through this paperwork. All right. C, the government failed to prove that the so-called enterprise's activity affected interstate commerce. Okay. So that things were going, that it should be a federal trial because it was interstate, and the commerce was supposed to be the girls. Okay. So there was no proof that there were other people that were bringing girls across to him, other than Azriel, Clary's parents, to be honest. They may have been driving for him, or something like that, but they were not, it's not a paid enterprise. It wasn't that type of thing. D, the government's proof did not establish a pattern of racketeering. Now, listen, do I think the man should be free? But also, do I feel like everything that's being said about him to hammer the fact that he needs to be where he needs to be is true? I don't feel like everything is true. Not everything. I feel like some people jumped on this for the fame of it all, like people like Asante McGee, who we've heard audio of her daughter saying that my mama did come home. She came home whenever she wanted to. She came home with purses and bags and stuff, and she would come home and give me a little bit of money, this, that, and the other, and go back. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Asante McGee going on TV saying she was locked in a black room. So I think that some people were in it for the fame of it all, and that's a normal thing, right? All right. Productivity. So D, the government didn't establish a pattern of racketeering. Number one, productivity of sexually explicit material. Racketeering Acts 2, 7, and 10. So that's what they're attesting. The Mann Act violations, exposure to STDs, Racketeering Acts 8A and 12A, intent, Racketeering Acts 8B and 12B, persuasion, inducement, enticement, and coercion. Now, let me tell you this. How could you entice someone whose parents reached out to you, came to your concert, and gave their daughter over to you? I'm not saying that the man is innocent, but all of this shit, everything that was said ain't just 100. I'm just saying, okay? All right, so we've got all of these things, all of these arguments you guys can see. Conclusion, all these cases, table of authorities, we have all that. All right, let's go on down here. The government failed to prove the defendant guilty of the offense of racketeering, count 1. Where there was no common purpose to carry out a fraudulent course of conduct, the government did not establish an enterprise. The government concedes that its evidence did not prove the defendant's employee shared a common purpose of criminality, but contends that to demonstrate a RICO enterprise, it was only required to show that defendant's employees shared a common purpose to promote his music and to meet his personal needs. And that was true. They would drive him food. They would give her the girls food. They would drive them to the studio. They would go get their drinks. They would take them to the mall. That does not establish criminal history on the level of these employees are committing a crime with him. Therefore, it's not an enterprise. It's just him alone. Okay. Despite authority to the contrary, the government insists that to prove the RICO enterprise, the members of the enterprise need not have connection to any unlawful conduct. According to the government, so long as the persons associated, in fact, share a common purpose, a RICO enterprise may exist, even if those persons do not have a common understanding that the purpose of the enterprise is to carry out illegal or fraudulent conduct. Under the government's theory, an enterprise exists when an individual is engaged in a pattern of unlawful conduct, racketeering activities, and merely uses his employees unwittingly to unwittingly facilitate that conduct. The government's argument is belied by the law and common sense. At the outset, the government is unable to prove a single case that supports its expansive view of the RICO enterprise, nor is it able to identify any factually similar authority. Instead, the government repeats the refrain that an enterprise may constitute a legal entity. But this point is not in dispute. An enterprise can be either formal or an informal organization that conducts purely illegal activity or largely legal activity. Any union or group of individuals associated, in fact, can constitute an enterprise. However, to sustain a charge of RICO, the members of the enterprise must share the purpose of carrying out some course of unlawful conduct. If this was not the case, a RICO enterprise could be established by one bad actor using his employees or even his neighbors or even his friends to unwittingly facilitate that conduct. The framers of the RICO statute did not intend this absurd result, and courts have not hesitated to reject this expansive view of the RICO enterprise. Strangely, the government cites Moss versus BMO Harris Bank to support this argument. But Moss strongly supports defendant's position. There, the plaintiff brought a punitive class action against the First Premier Bank alleging RICO violations. Specifically, the plaintiff charged that FBPB, a formal legal entity, belonged to the Automated Clearinghouse Network, a payment processing system that processed unlawful transactions on behalf of payday lenders. The plaintiff argued that the ACH network constituted an enterprise consisting of originators, various depository financial institutions that received ACH transaction instructions, ACH operators, third-party service providers, all of which shared the common lawful purpose of facilitating batch process of electronic payments for and between participating depository financial institutions. The court concluded that the ACH network described by the plaintiff did not constitute an enterprise for RICO purposes. The court held that to satisfy the first prong of the Boyle test, the participants and associates of, in fact, enterprise must share a common purpose to engage in particularly fraudulent course of conduct and work together to achieve these purposes. The court dismissed plaintiff's claims, finding plaintiff's failure to plead in an association, in fact, enterprise that shared wrongful intent to violate RICO was fatal to the claim. Okay, so with that being said, guys, what he's saying is that, and he brings up, listen, when you do these arguments, you have to bring up several other cases and several examples so that the court can understand why you're making these arguments, okay? So what he's saying in this argument is that there was a case just like this. It involved several processors, several people that worked in the banks, several different third-party processing companies, that if this person, the originator, right, set up a fraudulent system, that all of those people involved would have made it a RICO Act, because they had one common goal together, which was to carry out unlawful shit together. This is not what happened the court dismissed the plaintiff's claims because they did not know that they were processing payments fraudulently from these payday loan people. They have to have knowledge that this is what they're doing. And so, and not only do they have to have knowledge, they have to have intent that they're moving towards doing illegal activity together and doing business for the purpose of doing that illegal activity. And that's not what happened with R. Kelly. As a matter of fact, what happened with R. Kelly is that a lot of the employees spoke against his behavior. And so that right there already is, that's already not an enterprise that is, that would statute the RICO. Okay. The Moss Court's logic applies with full force here. The government's evidence showed the defendant's so-called inner circle, more aptly described as his employees, worked to promote his music and his brand, a legitimate enterprise. At best, the government's evidence showed that the defendant used his role within his music-driven collective to participate in sexual misconduct. As in Moss, defendant's use of his otherwise legitimate music business to advance his alleged illegitimate sexual needs does not render the defendant's business organization a RICO enterprise, absent because it doesn't have the common purpose among the employees to violate RICO. Thus, the government's RICO enterprise theory fails. Courts have rejected the government's expansive theory of a RICO enterprise because it would extend RICO liability to a vast marketplace based on one bad actor's mere association with the other members of the collective. By way of example, for example, under the government's theory, both Fox News and NBC News constitute RICO enterprises because of the bad conduct of Roger Ailes and Matt Lawyer, respectively. Roger Ailes, the former CEO of Fox News, allegedly sexually harassed, inappropriately touched, and exposed himself to women as young as 16 years old while working at Fox News. Under the government's expansive interpretation of enterprise, Fox News and its employees who worked for Owls, his assistants, secretaries, and drivers constitute for a RICO purposes because they presumably shared a common purpose to promote Fox News and meet the needs of the CEO. By the government's logic, if Ailes' assistant carried out tasks such as scheduling appointments, arranging transportation, or lunch reservations for Ailes and women he harassed or assaulted, those assistants constitute as members of a RICO enterprise, irrespective of their knowing involvement in Ailes' unlawful conduct. The same can be said for Lawyer, former NBC News anchor who was accused of repeatedly harassing and assaulting his female colleagues, sometimes while traveling for work. Consistent with the government's theory, any of lawyers, assistants, handlers, drivers would qualify for RICO purposes in the course of their duties facilitated his lawyer's illegal sexual conduct, even unwillingly. Of course, the government has shown no willingness to use its aggressive RICO theory against powerful white men. But the fact remains that if its RICO enterprise theory in this case is sanctioned, the government will have virtually unlimited power to charge a single bad actor with RICO. To sum it up, the government concedes that it failed to establish an enterprise. It offered no evidence that the defendant's various employees over the course of 2 decades engaged in, quote, coordinated activity to jointly achieve a common fraudulent purpose. As summarized by the government in its opposition papers, the evidence at trial shows that the defendant's employees generally engaged in a variety of tasks. So people was doing all kinds of stuff for R. Kelly, okay, that supported his relationships. not that they performed activities with the purpose of illegal conduct, but the government failed to prove that the members of the defendant's so-called inner circle acted jointly to achieve fraudulent or illegal schemes. This court must acquit defendant of the RICO. Whoa! 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 Who are you talking to? Get this person off my Yusuf, are you still here? Get this person off my damn channel talking about get to the point. Bye. Get your ass off my channel. Get that person off. Demeter, get that person off my channel. Goodbye. Why are you over here? Don't come over here with your mess. Who these people think they are? This ain't your channel. You done lost your mind. I'll get to the point when the fuck I feel like getting to the point, bitch. Get your ass out of here. Thank you, Yusuf. And you're out of here. You can no longer comment on my channel, bitch. Watch from the bushes. The fuck you think you are? All right. Sorry about that, y'all. I can't stand no rude motherfucker coming over here thinking they somebody. Get your ass up out of here, punk. I've watched you grow toxic and I love your channel. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Gwen Yumi. I appreciate it. I appreciate you very much. Don't come over here interrupting me and Alicia and Gwen Yumi and Miss Riona and Yusuf and Demeter and Mix. Stay where you at. Stay where you at. You understand? Okay? All right, y'all. Let's get back to it. Y'all know I'm silly. All right, let's get back to the read. All right, but that's why I stopped reading. Y'all, that was a lot that was said. Oh, oops, sorry. Who are you talking to? Oh, my bad. You were talking to her, Rachel. My bad. I see your comment. Rachel says, stop being rude, annoying bitch. Right. Right, Rachel. So, yeah, right. Hashtag bye, Felicia. I love you too, Bridget. Period. Hey. All right, y'all. Sorry about deleting your comment on accident, Rachel. My bad. So this was a lot, but I think that they got this one correct. Yeah, I know, right? Because I was being a little rude, but I was playing. I was serious, but I was playing. You know, I was just being myself. I'm kind of jokey like that. Right, right. But what made you be the only person it's 464 people on this live right now. Okay, regardless of what you see on your screen, because I see 447 on my phone. I can see the real number right here. Okay, the real numbers is gonna always be right here. What made you be the one person that thought you was gonna come on somebody's channel and check them? Ain't nobody else did that. You thought you just had it like that on somebody else's shit. Go sit your ass down somewhere. Chaba. All right. Okay, so this was a lot with that read, and I feel like they have that part right. I feel like there's a chance that R. Kelly might get acquitted, y'all, just based on that fact. Listen, show do. I mean, the nerve of these people, child. Okay. R. Kelly always seems to come out on top. My bad. That was a little. Okay. R. Kelly always seems to come out of the storm. Let's say it like that, okay? He always comes out of the storm with another chance. And I wouldn't be surprised if he got acquitted based on this. I think they did fail to establish the RICO Act, but also he was found guilty of 9 counts of sexual abuse, like misconduct. So they would have us, he still wouldn't be getting out. And that man still got another trial to do. Hello. Another one. Ooh. Okay. And he's also facing life in that one. So, child, I don't know what all, maybe they're just bored. I don't know. All right. The government's evidence of an enterprise distinct from the defendant was wanting. So here's what that means. Remember I said I didn't know what the hell that means? Okay, I'm just going to read straight through this one because I'm trying to get to something. Hold on. So I know I'm at B. Let me see something. Oh, they going in great detail with this argument. They are not playing with this argument. All right, let's get to it. The government insists that its proof satisfied the person enterprise rule because the enterprise consisted of more than the defendant. The government's summary conclusions are not backed up by this evidence, by the evidence. The government argues that the purpose of the enterprise was to promote his music and his brand and to ensure that his needs were met. Illogically, the government argues that the enterprise was distinct from the defendant but fails to identify evidence to support this contention. Frankly, the government seems to concede that the defendant is the enterprise and that the enterprise simply doesn't exist without him, which explains why it failed to charge even more than one other person in connection with this alleged vast RICO enterprise. Right? Because if it was a RICO, if it was an enterprise, more than one person would have been charged. What the fuck are they talking about? That's true. The government offers only a feeble response to the defendant's discreteness challenge, citing no authority to support his contention or distinguishing the holdings of Riverwood's Chappaqua, what the fuck, corporation, and these corporations right here, y'all. Lord help us. What the hell is all that? Hold on. Let me stop right there. I said I was going to read straight through, but hold on. I just had a fucking thought. Y'all do know that Demetrius fucking Smith, okay? Demetrius Smith spoke, and Demetrius Smith had immunity, but Demetrius Smith was the one that was going out to find girls for R. Kelly. And let me tell you this. I've been in Demetrius Smith's house, as we all know. I've been in a Savage's house, as we all know. I've sat amongst these people and ate their food. Okay, Demetrius cooked me chicken every time I go over there. Okay, and John Jalen Savage cooked me rotel, bitch. Okay, don't say you didn't, John Jalen. You know you cooked me that rotel. Okay, I have held Timothy. I have hugged Timothy Savage while he cried over his daughter, and you know, I have been. You know, these are things that I've seen. I've spoken to several of the victims, several of the moles in the camp, several of their children. Y'all know, okay? Y'all already know. Not Rotel, Hotel, Holiday Inn. You tripping. LC, you ain't never lied. That's a shame. But listen, I think that Demetrius Smith's that his testimony may be the factor that caused for them to say, you know what? He did have people going out and getting girls with the intention of him having sex with them and doing illegal, inappropriate things with them, because Demetrius Smith was one of them. But Demetrius Smith testified for immunity. That's not fair. If it's an enterprise, you arrest everybody. What the fuck? That's not fair at all. It's just really not. Oh yeah. I've been all around that block, child. Trust me. All around that block. Okay. The Savages got mad at me because I put a video up of Angelo Clary saying that he played a video that Timothy played of audio of his daughter having sex with R. Kelly. And I'm a blogger. I'm going to blog the stuff that's going on. I understand why they got mad. So it made me mad that they got mad, but I really don't have nothing against them people. You know, I really don't. I just got mad that they got mad. Like, I just returned the energy. But anyway, I do not fuck with Angelo Clary at all. He is not a good person. Anybody fuck with him, you already know they got some shit going on in their head, okay? By alleging RICO enterprise that consists of defendant and his own employee or agents
carrying on his affairs, namely promoting his music, and facilitating his sexual needs, the government fails to satisfy the distinctness requirement. Put differently, because the government alleges that defendants, employees, and associates together for no purpose other than to carry out defendant's needs, including his sexual activity, the defendant did not form an enterprise distinct from the defendant. The defendant and the alleged enterprise were one and the same. So it would be just him by himself. That's not an enterprise. The government failed to prove that these so-called enterprise activities affected interstate commerce. The government's interstate commerce argument hinges on its theory that the purpose of the RICO enterprise was to promote his music and brand. As argued, this RICO enterprise theory fails because there's simply no nexus between this collective and individual who work to promote defendant's music and, of course, fraudulent conduct or the racketeering activity in which the defendant is alleged to have engaged. If the defendant's legitimate music collective constituted an enterprise for RICO purposes, the government's argument would be well taken. But for the reasons identified, the government cannot prove a RICO enterprise based on the individuals associated, in fact, for the purpose of promoting his music. The government's proof did not establish a pattern of racketeering. 1, production of sexually explicit material. Now, they said they looked at this material in the background without us. Why? Okay, I'm just saying, why? All right, anyway. The government charged the defendant with 3 violations for allegedly videotaping a consensual act with 17-year-old Stephanie. Number 2, videotaping a sexual act with a 17-year-old Jane in the state of California, where the age of consent is 18, and videotaping a sex act with Geronda in Illinois before she turned 18 years of age. Whew. The government argues that it provided sufficient proof of these violations, because the defendant used the minors to take part in sexually explicit conduct for the purpose of producing a visual depiction of that conduct. The government argues that pursuant to authority in this circuit and others, that defendant photographed or videotaped the minor is sufficient evidence. Proof that the government argues that pursuant to authority in this circuit and others, proof that the defendant photographed or videotaped the minor without more is sufficient evidence of a violation, because videotaping the minor alone constitutes use of a minor. Although it is true that several circuits, including the Second Circuit, have held that the use element set forth in that charge is satisfied when the defendant intentionally films a minor's sexually explicit conduct, defendant maintains that use requires more than a minor appearing in a photograph or video. To reach a different conclusion, it would render the remaining terms in the statute persuade, induce, entice, or coerce superfluous. It is a cardinal principle of statutory construction that a statute ought, upon hold, to be construed if it can be prevented. No clause, sentence, or word shall be superfluous or insignificant. I'm sorry, y'all. Ooh, I can't believe I just made that face on camera. I got so confused. Oh my God. Because, okay, hold on. Let me finish reading this. Let me finish the argument. If the government argues a violation is established by nothing more than proving that the defendant photographed or videotaped a minor in sexually explicit conduct, the terms persuade, induce, or coerce is entirely unnecessary. To accept this serious, I don't know what that means, court interpretation of the word use, to accept the court's interpretation of the word use is to render the remainder of the sentence meaningless in direct contradiction to the principles of statutory construction. To read the statute where each word has significance requires a court to define use as something more than an act of filming or photographing the minor. Defendant acknowledges the authority to the contrary, but maintains that the law is contrary to the intent of the framers of the statute. So is what they're trying to say here is that it doesn't, so basically what they're saying is that there is no coercion. They're saying that the charge, listen, the charge is, wait a minute, hold on. Ouch. Okay, that's the wait a minute. I don't think I agree with this argument. I don't think I agree with this argument. So basically they're saying that he enticed or coerced someone. The charge is like, okay, you enticed or coerced someone. But their argument is that if the use alone of the minor in a sexually explicit position is against the law, why are you saying that the coercion is there? Do you guys understand? I don't agree with this argument at all. I think that if you videotaping minors, you got a fucking problem. Period. I don't even have the energy for that. You got me fucked up. Shut up. I'm not finna do it. I'm just not. We're not finna walk around no motherfucking boats. We're not finna beat around no bushes. You videotape my motherfucking child like that, any child. I don't give a fuck how old. If they're a fucking minor, you're done. You understand? Done. Okay? All right. The Mann Act violation, exposure to STDs. Woo! In keeping with its dichotomous approach to statutory interpretation, the government argues that even though it charged Mann Act violations based on the defendant's violation of state public safety laws prohibiting knowing exposure to STDs, the government denies that it must prove that the defendant arranged the travel of Jane and Faith with the intent to violate those laws. So they're basically saying that he didn't fly them over there to give them STDs. So it wasn't his intention. If you don't sit your ass down, sit down now, okay? With no authority, the government argues that it was sufficient to show only that one of the defendant's motivations in arranging for Jane and Faith to travel to meet him during his music tours was to have sex with him, not to violate the charged offenses. The government simply ignores its obligation to prove a nexus between the transportation and the alleged illegal conduct. This is a recurrent pattern of the government's prosecution of this case. Now, see, I would have used different language if I was his lawyer. This is the reason why people say that he needs to keep getting new lawyers, because this is fucked up. Like, first of all, you could have said that those girls were coming to do fucking music, and that was the intent, or to listen to his music. You say you just don't. Well, he just didn't mean to give them CDs. You don't know that he just wanted to have them on tour to have sex with them for his music. What? You never did have no good lawyers, R. Kelly. You just never did. The illegal sexual activity, quote unquote, that the government charged are specific offenses pursuant to the California and New York public health codes. The record is devoid of any evidence that a significant or motivating purpose in arranging for their travel was to expose them to an STD. So you trying to tell me that you gonna sit here and say, well, he arranged their travel with the intent on having sex with them, but it wasn't to give them an STD? No, sit your ass down somewhere. No. The government devotes 6 pages of his discussion to reviewing amounts of testimony it presented in connection with the defendant's alleged conduct of with Jane and Faith, who never contracted genital herpes in any event. But none of this testimony demonstrates that defendant's actions of arranging for their travel to meet him was motivated by the intent to expose them to STDs. The government continues to ignore the salient argument here, namely that it failed to show that the defendant was motivated to have Jane and Faith travel to meet him so that he could give them an STD, rather than to just simply have sex with them. Oh, he just wanted to, bump uglies with herpes. He didn't know it was going to give him an ST, though. You know what I'm saying? So he knows it's going to give him the... So, it's all good. No! What the fuck? No! Your doctor told you that your ass had the herpes, and you should have listened to the damn doctor. You should have used some protection. You should have just told him, like, look, my doctor told me I got the herpes, but I ain't got no breakouts right now, so you trying to fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? Okay, Racketeering Acts 8B and 12B. So I don't agree with the last 3 arguments, y'all. The first 2, the RICO, you had a point. You got a good motherfucking point. But these other ones, no, you just fucking trying it. Now you just goddamn, you trying it. Okay? All right. Racketeering Acts 8 and B, persuasion. Ooh, this is the one I've been trying to get to. Inducement, enticement, and coercion. The government continues to push a narrative it knows to be false, namely that R. Kelly induced, enticed, coerced, or even persuaded Jane and Faith to travel to meet him in California and New York, respectively, to engage in illegal sexual conduct. The undisputed evidence shows nothing of the sort. Hold on, you guys. I'm freezing. I've had my fan going, my cool, and it's just cold. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Oh, I gotta turn this off. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. All right. All right, got that off, and we'll go off in 1 second. Whew, freezing in my house. Hot outside, though. Hot outside in Vegas, y'all. All right. Let us... Okay, I'm going to read this one from the beginning, okay? The government continues to push a narrative it knows is false. Namely, that R. Kelly induced, enticed, coerced, or even persuaded Jane and Faith to travel to meet him in Cali and New York, respectively, to engage in illegal sexual conduct. The undisputed evidence shows nothing of the sort. In both scenarios, R. Kelly asked them to meet him at his concerts, and they accepted. Both of these young women were eager to meet the defendant and did so with a clear understanding that it would likely involve sex. As set forth in detail in defendant's opening papers, Jane's contemporaneous text messages with her mother, this Jane is Azriel Clary, y'all, okay? Just to let y'all know. Jane's contemporaneous text messages with her mother show that Jane's mother engineered Jane's relationship with the defendant. Oh, oh my God. When you talk about pimping your daughter out, you got to look in the dictionary and see the Clarys, okay? Wow, wow, wow. What the hell? What would you do? Ooh-wee. What a mess and what a shame. What a shamble. Okay? A mess, a shame, and a shamble. It's just a shamble. Okay? Just horrible. Yusuf said, happy birthday, Nani. She's already had several gifts from the entire week. Okay? And by the way, remember, Jane is Azriel Clary. She wanted to go by a pseudo. I don't know why. Girl, we know who you is. Okay? It ain't a fake profile you could use that won't let me know that it's used. All right. So as set forth in detail in defendant's opening papers, Jane's contemporaneous text, Azriel's contemporaneous text messages with her mother show that her mother, Alice Clary, make that clear, engineered her relationship with R. Kelly. The text messages reflect that Azriel and her mother communicated incessantly about how Azriel would entice R. Kelly into a relationship that Azriel's mother hoped would catapult her into stardom. Told y'all, pimping ain't easy, especially when it's your kid. Ooh. Prior to traveling to California, Jane's mother demanded that she continue to text R. Kelly. You better be texting him so you will stay on his mind. Jane dutifully reported to her mother that she spoke to defendant about flying to California to meet him, and that he told her that she could meet him whenever I tell him, tomorrow if I choose. And those were Azriel's words. So it wasn't like she was coerced. It was her mom that was coercing her. Alice Clary was coercing her. As the government concedes, defendant had no idea that she was 17 years old. Since Jane and her parents actively misled R. Kelly about her age. All of them. Azriel, Angelo, Alice, Clary, all of them plotted. I told y'all this was a damn setup. They plotted and used that man, and they knew how to do it was through his weakness, which is women. They knew that. Okay? And it's not about, and for me, and to keep it honest, it's not about young or old. The nigga likes bitches. Do I need to say that like that? He had grown ass women coming out saying the same fuck ass shit that these girls were saying. Hello? Okay? He likes women. The man likes pussy. He not gay. Oh, maybe he is. He likes sex. Okay? Maybe he needs to go to nymphomatic meetings. Maybe he need to get to the nymphomatics. But let me tell you this, the Nymphonatics Anonymous is not going to help Azriel Clary's parents, who need to be locked the fuck up for pimping out their own child. That is a fucking shame. You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay? You nasty, bald-headed, ugly, nasty accent-having ass, fat-hipped, big booty, wide booty ass, thick thigh, big mama-looking ass man. The hell? Okay? Anyway. So they actively misled him. The mother was actively telling her, and that's probably why she don't speak to her mama today. The mother was actively trying to get her to be on R. Kelly's mind, to stay texting him, to be in his face, to go see him, da-da-da-da-da. That's a fucking shame. They need to be in jail, okay? During her trip to California, so during Azriel's trip to California with R. Kelly, Azriel and her mom were in constant communication. Now, this is the same shit that you heard this man say, who said she was escorting in Dubai. He said that she was in constant communication with her dad. Is that not awkward? Ooh-wee. Azriel never once complained that she had been enticed on false pretenses or that she felt misled. Quite the opposite. The text messages reflected that Azriel was having the time of her life and thrilled to be romantically connected to the defendant. So that means that they knew from the beginning. It wasn't about I'm going to get a singing career. It might have been, they basically used, to try to get her to the status where she is now. But he let it go down. And I guess when it all fell down around him, she was like, well, shit, I got to use something. So I'm finna just go for the gusto and go against him. And that's why Joy was like, you evil. Remember they got into a fight? Joycelyn and Azriel Clary got into a fight. And Joycelyn was like, you're lying. You're evil. You evil as fuck. Like, what's wrong with you? Remember that? Ooh-wee. Woo. Similarly, Faith's testimony on this issue showed that the defendant asked her if she wanted to hang out. Faith agreed, and defendant merely paid for her travel. The record is devoid of any evidence of persuasion or enticement or inducement on the part of R. Kelly. Faith may have decided to travel and hang out with the defendant because she sought to be near a celebrity, but this motivation on her part has nothing to do with his conduct. Defendant's status as a famous R&B singer does not amount to enticement, notwithstanding the government's argument to the contrary. The government suggests that the defendant's act of arranging for Azriel's travel is sufficient to demonstrate that he induced her to travel to California because he caused her to travel. The law says otherwise. The Second Circuit has made it clear that the terms persuade, induce, entice, coerce are words of common usage that have plain ordinary meanings. The court distinguishes that conduct from merely asking, which is not sufficient to demonstrate criminally. Recognizing that there may be some uncertainty as to the precise demarcation between persuasion, which is criminalized, and asking, which is not. Keeping with this pattern of rewriting statutes, the government suggests that it need only to prove that the defendant caused Jane and Faith to travel to meet him to sustain the charge. The government relies on a 1959, excuse me, a 1959 case from the Fourth Circuit that interpreted the now defunct version of the Mann Act that was historically used by the government to prosecute Black men who had relationships with white women. The current iteration of the Mann Act does not contain the caused language like the 1958 version did. Moreover, the discussed in detail infra harms actually stands for proposition that the government must provide specific proof persuasion to sustain its burden. The government's reliance on harms is misplaced. Contrary to the government's claims, it was required to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant persuaded, induced, or coerced Jane, Azriel, to travel to California, not merely asked her. The government's evidence is wanting. The court must acquit the defendant of the Mann Act violation and all others. Bitch, now you had a point right there. Oh, bitch. Oh, shit, bitch. You got a motherfucking point right there. That's not a good charge. That bitch was lying. That's not a cool charge, dog. Not okay. You got a motherfucking point right there. Okay, something is wrong with Azriel, Clary, and her parents. And that's why you see, they was planning it the whole time. What's up, Dana? They was planning it the entire time. This girl was living in her house, in this man's house, as a part of a scheme and plan to set this man up to be in the position that he's in today. That girl, no wonder she can't get a job and she out there prostituting in Dubai. She got nothing good coming to her. You don't do people like that. You have got to be effing kidding me, Azriel. You're worse than I thought. And your parents are disgusting. No wonder you're like that. Look where you come from. Ugh. That's disgusting. This nigga about to get out. Right. That's crazy. He gonna be free on the streets fighting his other trial, bitch. Fucking with these stupid ass people. What?
Well, it turns out my prediction about that was totally wrong. So I wanted to run back a little piece of some footage so that you guys can get an idea of where I was at when I left off with Azriel. Now, as part of this podcast, I promised to bring some fan fiction, which I totally did. I typed it up in Chat GPT. Okay, this is my fan fiction. So if somebody else tried to take this and use this, y'all already know they must have done bumped their damn head. Okay, but that paperwork and that those receipts about Azriel, using her body to let people have the whammy in Dubai was crazy. And that was crazy that was where I left off in regards to her story. So we can go over there and see what she's been up to, because I did go take a look earlier. And I'm going to tell y'all one thing that I said about Azriel, Clary. I said she has nothing good coming to her. Man, it's like the apocalypse. The apocalypse or something like that happened over there in her world, and she's been trying to reinvent herself ever since. Let's get to it with this fan fiction. I'll see the prompt was create a fan fiction story about R. Kelly while he's in jail. So of course we went through that. Okay, here it is. The opening scene, sounds of a metal door slamming echoes through the concrete halls of the Chicago Correctional Center. Inmate Robert Kelly sits on the edge of his bunk, a worn notebook open in his hands. His fingers tap the rhythm of an invisible song. The cell is small, but the silence inside is loud. Every night he hears voices, not from other inmates, but from his past. Laughter from the studio, the roar of crowds, the quiet cries he once ignored. A new inmate arrives, Marcus Lyric Lane, a young rapper with a reputation for both talent and trouble. He's starstruck but cautious. I didn't think I would end up bunking with a legend. Without looking up, legends don't live in cages, R. Kelly said. They strike an odd friendship. Marcus spends nights asking about fame, while R. Kelly scribbles lyrics that sound more like prayers than songs. One morning, the warden, a man with a politician's smile, visits their cell. He's organizing a rehab concert for inmates, a public relations stunt. He wants R. Kelly to lead it. You write songs, huh? You write the songs. You give them hope. Maybe you'll get a little mercy from the system. I hope it ain't something you perform for cameras. I'm sorry, y'all. Hope ain't something you could perform for cameras. Wait, let me go back to the warden. You write the song. Get a little mercy from the system. Perform for cameras, R. Kelly said. But inside, Kelly sees his chance, not for mercy, but for forgiveness. Days blur into nights. Kelly teaches Marcus how to arrange harmonies using just voices and walls, the sounds bouncing through the concrete like a choir. He writes a new song called The Echo Room about how sound like sin always finds a way to come back around. Inmates gather each night to listen, and even guards stop by. The song spread like rumor and redemption mixed together. The night before the performance, Marcus is attacked by another inmate jealous of the attention. Kelly, desperate to save him, breaks up the fight, ending up in solitary confinement. In solitary, he hums his unfinished melody in the dark. You can lock a man up, he whispers, but not the sound of his soul. When the concert begins, Marcus walks on stage alone. He starts the song, The Echo Room, exactly as Kelly taught him. His voice trembles but grows strong. From deep within solitary, Kelly hears it echo through his vent. His creation flying free without him. Tears run down his face as he sings along, his voice joining a distant choir of inmates. Prison yard, to the city skyline, to the night sky, where the echoes fade into silence. Some sounds never die, they just find rooms to live in. The gates of the correctional facility creak open. A gray dawn spills across the yard as Robert Kelly steps outside, holding a single duffel bag. He's older now, quieter. His beard is graying. The world beyond the fence looked both familiar and foreign. Flashing phones, whispering crowds, and a few reporters wait at the curb. He doesn't speak. He just pulls a hoodie over his head and walks away. Freedom feels heavier than prison. At a downtown diner, Kelly meets Evelyn Price, an investigative journalist who once wrote harsh exposés about him. She's skeptical when she sees him. You've been called a monster. Why talk to me? Evelyn said. Stories. Maybe mine's ends different. She agrees to record his words for a redemption documentary, but only if he doesn't sing, just talks. Kelly hesitates. For the first time, he's being asked to face the world without his music. Weeks later, he visits a forgotten studio in the South Side, dust-covered instruments, flickering lights, and a cracked piano. He touches the keys and plays the chords to the echo room. In that moment, the ghosts return, not to haunt him, but to remind him. Then a voice breaks the silence. Marcus Lyric Lane, now a free man himself, walks in. Told you, sound don't die, OG. It just wait for the right moment. They embrace like brothers who walked through fire and survived. Kelly decides to write again, not to defend himself, not for fame, but to confess. He and Marcus recorded an acoustic track called Resurrection, raw and haunting. It's filled with remorse, grace, and the ache of rebirth. Ever It's not an apology, it's a mirror. Maybe that's all I've got left to give. The song line, credited only to unknown voices. It spreads quietly, not viral, but sacred. Shared in churches, community centers, and late night radio. No one knows who wrote it until Evelyn releases her documentary. It ends up with Kelly standing in the same cell where he once sang The Echo Room, now empty. His voice narrates over the final montage. I can do the echoes. I can't do the echoes I made, but maybe I could teach someone else to listen differently. The camera pans across the youth music. Marcus leads a group of teenagers writing their own songs of pain and survival. A faint melody plays from the speaker in the corner. Resurrection. Outside, a car drives away slowly. Inside sits Robert Kelly, staring out the window at the horizon, not as a star, not as a legend, chasing peace. Redemption isn't, it's the sound you make after you've heard yourself. All right, it's been 12 years since Robert Kelly vanished from the public eye. No one knows where he went. No interviews, no music, no sightings. The world has moved on. Hip hop has changed, R&B has evolved, and the name R. Kelly has become a ghost, whispered, debated, almost forbidden. Until one night, in a dusty record store on Chicago's west side, a young singer named Ari Jensen finds an unmarked cassette tape in a box labeled Old Demos. The tag just says Property of the Echo Room. Ari plays the tape. It starts with static, then a soft piano, then a deep, weary voice. If you're hearing this, then I found peace before you found me again. It's unmistakably R. Kelly's voice, but gentler. The lyrics that follow aren't about fame or pain. They're about freedom after punishment, grace after guilt, and light after obsessed. He begins hunting for clues. Where it came from, who recorded it, and what the Echo Room really was. Ari tracks down Marcus Lyric Lane, now a mentor running a youth music academy. When Ari plays him the tape, Marcus freezes, tears in his eyes. That's the one he never finished. He called it Legacy. He said it was meant to belong to whoever needed it next. Marcus warned him, some legacies burn brighter when they stay hidden. But Ari believes the world needs to hear it. He decides to recreate the song, mixing the old tape's vocals with modern production. When Ari releases the song anonymously, it becomes a phenomenon overnight. The world debates again, is it redemption or revisionism? Forgiveness or forgetting? Music critics dissect every lyric. Church choirs remix it, and young artists start calling themselves Echo Generation, using their music to talk about pain, healing, and honesty. Through it all, Ari keeps one secret. The song's original raw version, the full message from Kelly, still hasn't been. Late one night, Ari gets an unmarked letter in the mail. It's a set of GPS coordinates and a handwritten note. You found my sound, now find the silence. He follows it to a small cabin deep in Michigan woods. Inside, there's an old reel-to-reel recorder, a piano covered on the wall, a message etched into the wood. The Echo Room was a lesson. Every sound returns to the soul that made it. Ari presses play on the recorder. A final voice note plays. Kelly's voice, older still. Music can't wash away what's been done, but it can teach those who came after to start better. Ari closes his eyes as the melody fades, carrying the last notes of Legacy. The story ends in a concert hall years later. Ari performs Legacy live with a massive choir of artists from around the world. As the light dim, a holographic image of a piano appears behind him. No singer, no spotlight, just a ghostly reflection. That was the fan fiction about R. Kelly. Post, now this is post him get out of prison, as you guys saw. This is like when he got out of prison, what happened. This is what I felt like was, of course, I did a couple of these, but the one that I felt like I wanted to share the most because I'm like, dang, what if this really happened? What if he did meet a dude in prison who he was teaching music to? Because remember, he has a guy in the prison that's drawing him a comic book. Mind you, I know for a fact that he's always been into making cartoons because when I was at Demetrius Smith's house, Demetrius Smith has the only recording of a cartoon that R. Kelly has ever done. It's the one and only, and Demetrius Smith has pictures of R. Kelly across the world, okay, with other women that we've never seen before that are clearly, I mean, you guys just have to see the photos. I've seen them. You'd have to just see them. You just have to see them. Okay. I believe that everything that's in the dark, as the Bible says, will come to the light. And I've seen these pictures for sure. And I'm not going to say they were younger or older. I'm just going to say you will have to see them. Okay, let's go into Azriel Clary's fan fiction story, and then we'll go over to see what she's been doing, what she's doing today. And that'll be the end of the podcast. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. At midnight, a silver car glides through the fog. Inside, Azriel Clary, now 28 years old, stares out the window at the skyline she once thought she'd never see again. Her hair is shorter, her gaze is sharper. She's been gone for years, living quietly in Atlanta under a new name, recording small songs in local studios, but now she's back, not for fame, but for closure. In her hand, she clutches a small black notebook labeled Project Phoenix. Azriel checks into a dimly lit boutique hotel. The clerk, an older woman with knowing eyes, slides her a note with her room key. The note reads, "But I have something that belongs to you, M." She feels a chill. Handwriting looks familiar. Too familiar. The address on the note leads to a warehouse on the south side. Abandoned. Its sign faded. Legacy Records. Inside, she finds a dusty recording studio. Microphone still standing, reels still stacked. On the console sits a single cassette labeled Azriel 2016 Unreleased. When she plays it, her own voice fills the room. Teenage, trembling, but powerful. Then beneath her singing voice whispers, "One day they'll know your truth." Azriel freezes. The voice is unmistakable, and it's not supposed to exist anymore. She contacts Detective Lena Cruz, a private investigator specializing in cases. Lena's skeptical but intrigued, especially when Azriel reveals the tape's origin. If this is real, somebody's been keeping a specific secret for a very long time, Lena says. Then I want to be the one to end it with truth, not fear, Azriel said. They agreed to trace where the tape comes from and who M is. Clues lead them to Marcus Hale. Here we go back with Marcus Chow, a once famous producer known in the early 2000s. He vanished after rumors of exploitation surfaced, but recent studio payments suggest he's still working on it. Azriel arranges to meet under a fake name. She enters a low-lit club called the Phoenix Room, the name eerily matching her notebook. Marcus appears from the shadows, older but smug. "I knew you'd come back. The world loves a comeback story." "I'm not here for a comeback story. I'm here for the truth." He slides her a USB drive. "Everything you think was erased wasn't." Back in her hotel, Azriel plugs in the drive. Inside are folders, hundreds of recordings, footage, contracts, evidence of manipulation, control, and cover-ups. But among them is something unexpected. Letters written by Azriel herself from years ago, addressed to her future self. In one she wrote, "If you're reading this, it means you survived. Don't let them rewrite your voice. Sing only for truth." She breaks down pain, but from release. Months later, a small candle stage in New York City. Azriel performs live for the first time in years. The song is titled The Phoenix Room, haunting, soulful, filled with scars and strength. They tried to bury me under my own silence, she sings, but I grew wings under the weight. As the final note echoes, Lena watches from the audience. Outside, reporters wait, not for scandal, but for a story of rebirth. You can't burn a phoenix, you can only teach her how to rise again. Every silence has a song waiting to break free. Later, Azriel Clary's song The Phoenix Room has gone viral, not as a mainstream hit, but as a movement. Survivors of manipulation, abuse, and silence all over the world have started calling themselves the Phoenix Network. They share stories, songs, and poems, all inspired by her comeback performance. But fame, even redemptive fame, attracts darkness. Late one night, Azriel returns to her apartment and finds a white envelope taped to her door. Inside is a photograph, a dimly lit warehouse filled with recording equipment on the back. Only one who sang. Azriel meets again with Elena Cruz, now working as a private consultant for a nonprofit project artist for nonprofit project artists' rights. Lena pulls up surveillance footage of the warehouse in the photo, a place called Studio 47, supposedly abandoned. But the footage shows people entering late at night, women, men, even teens, escorted by men in suits. Whoever is running that studio is building something. Maybe a new label, maybe a cover operation, or maybe they're silencing people again, Azriel said. But this time, Azriel refuses to be. Using her connections in the music industry, Azriel arranges a secret meeting with Darius Cole, a mysterious audio engineer who once worked under Marcus Hill. Darius is nervous, constantly checking over his shoulder. He gives Azriel a hard drive encrypted with a password only she can unlock because he uses her voice pattern as a key. It's all connected. Hell, the label, even some of your old unreleased recordings. You weren't the only one being controlled. Before Azriel could ask more, Darius vanishes into the crowd, gone before she could even thank him. That night, she plays the encrypted file. The drive opens to reveal the whisper files, secret vocal sessions from other young singers, tone, emotion, even the words. Each track ends with a whisper, Phoenix will rise. Azriel's pulse races. They weren't just songs, they were messages, coded cries for help. Azriel goes live on social media, speaking cryptically about unfinished stories and hidden voices. Within hours, she receives an anonymous DM. You're getting too close. Stop. The fire consumes you next. Unshaken, she agrees to meet the sender at Studio 47, with Lena secretly tracking her from outside. Inside, the building hums with power generators. She follows the sound of humming voices, women singing softly behind a metal door. When she opens it, she finds a makeshift recording booth and Maya, a young woman who says she's been writing songs for someone else's name. They said it was my big break, but every song I wrote was released under another artist. That doesn't even make sense. Azriel realizes the truth. The Phoenix Network wasn't just a movement, it was being hijacked. A secret collective of producers was using the message of survivor empowerment as a front, stealing voices, lyrics, and stories from real people to manufacture a brand of pain for profit. They built an empire out of our trauma, Azriel said. She records everything, the voices, the hidden files, the evidence, and sends it live to her millions of before the feed cuts out. A montage plays. Police raid Studio 47. Lena stands beside Azriel during a press conference. Survivors all over the world sings Phoenix Will Rise in unison, flooding social media with real stories and real faces. Azriel looks out over the ocean from a pier, wind in her head, and a quiet strength in her eyes. Her phone buzzes, an email with no sender, and it reads, The fire you started spread further than you know. M. She smiles faintly, whispering to herself, Then let it burn. When they steal your voice, teach the world to listen louder. Okay, let's do a part 3 to that, and then we're going to be done We just gonna do part 3 right quick, and then we gonna be done. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go thriller, cinematic, and then we gonna be done. Here we go. A figure steps off a ferry into the morning fog. It's Azriel Clary, disguised beneath a long coat and sunglasses. She's here under a false name for one reason: the encrypted message she received from M, traced back to an offshore studio connected to a global media conglomerate called Aurora Soundworks. Rumor says Aurora is more than a label. It's a data mining empire that uses artists' voices to train synthetic singers, stealing soul and stories alike. Noah Sands, a weary sound designer who once worked for Aurora in a candlelit cafe, he slides her a hard drive wrapped in foil. They're building digital phantoms, voices stitched together from stolen recordings. Some of them sound like you, Noah said. Azriel plays the foul. A haunting AI generated song fills the room. Her tone, her phrasing, but not her. Her stomach knots. If Aurora succeeds, truth itself becomes programmable. Azriel teams again with Detective Lena Cruz, who now consults for Interpol's cybercrime unit. Together, they decode the metadata hidden inside the audio. Every track contains leading to different cities: Berlin, Seoul, Lagos, Rio. Each location corresponds to an artist who disappeared after signing with Aurora. Lena calls it Project Phoenix, a twisted corporate homage to Azriel's movement. They turn my fire into their algorithm. It's nighttime. Rain slips the streets of Berlin as Azriel and Lena infiltrates Aurora's European server hub. Security drones sweep the corridors, monitors holographic singers performing endless rehearsals. In a hidden vault, Azriel finds her own unreleased recordings labeled Prototype '01. She realizes the company is using her voice to seed the entire program. Alarms blare. They escape through a glass atrium as code files upload to an encrypted cloud. But Azriel smuggles out a fragment, the root key of Aurora's AI. Back in Lipson, Azriel contacts the Phoenix Network, now millions strong worldwide. She plans a simultaneous stream: musicians, hackers, survivors, and fans joining forces to expose Aurora. Key, they hack the company's main broadcast. On screens across continents, synthetic idols freeze mid-song. Azriel appear live, singing Truth Frequency, a new anthem interlaced with the deactivation code. One by one, the fake voices fall silent. Real voices take over, imperfect, human, and alive. Weeks later, Aurora collapses under global investigation. Azriel retreats to a seaside town in Ghana, producing independent artists who once feared the industry. Lena visits, handing her a small postcard stamped from Tokyo. Thank you for freeing our sound. M. Azriel smiles, watching young singers record under open skies, and she whispers, no more echoes, only beginnings. And this is the tagline: when they try to clone your voice, make it a weapon for truth. Okay, so I thought that was pretty good. We're not gonna do a part 4 to that because it's giving team too much. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good for a little FanFiction story real quick. So it was funny, in the FanFiction story they said that she was still doing her music and she hadn't performed in years. Well, this is exactly what has actually really happened. She really is still doing her music. As you guys can see, she's not necessarily doing well. She's turned the likes off. She's got 6 comments, 4 comments, 16 comments on that one, 21 on this one. So I guess as long once they live longer, maybe they go longer. But she has been online doing her thing. I did see that she has, so that song was called Talk to Me. There was another one that she just did. I was just watching the video for it. It's down here, this one. I think this one is the one that I forget the name to it, but this one was weird to me. She did do like a little 1-2 step dance. Very attractive girl. However, whoever did this video, you can see some imperfections, and her steps were a little bit off, seemed a little bit awkward as she was dancing with her hands, and I think she thought she was eating it more than what she was. Um, but she could stand to do some little dance classes after what I saw right here. Obviously, she got her body done when she was with R. Kelly, so she is taking advantage of that now, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with her still pushing towards her goals. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, she's not still talking about it. She's actually just trying to do her music like she was trying to do in the first place, really. And that's all you see on her profile is just her posing, doing her music. She doesn't post anything about her personal life at all. She just does her music, does skits for her music and stuff like that. This is the most that I've seen about her personal life on here recently. Everything else is just all outfits and music, and she's trying to give looks. I want to say she's giving me a mix between Jessica White and Normani in this particular shot. Um, just because it's, I don't know, I feel like it's somewhere in there. Sexy Red, Jessica White, Normani, like she could be all their daughter at once, like three moms at once is all I'm saying. But yeah, I want to know what you guys thought about the fan fiction story. This is all that Azriel has going on. She literally is not doing anything else but her music. She ain't posted no stories. She has nothing else going on. She's still pushing to do her artistry. Now, in this story, we heard about her songs becoming viral and stuff like that. Unfortunately, in real life, that is not what is going on. She's still struggling artist, trying, wearing the same sandals with different outfits, trying to get it going. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all very limited in what we can do until we're not. So she's still going for it. She's still young. I ain't mad at the girl. But thank you guys for joining me for this podcast. I probably will put the label on it tomorrow morning. Y'all could imagine I'm tired. I've had a very long day, and I really, really wanted to read that fan fiction for you guys and run back that interview or that video. And I appreciate those of you who stuck with me through this. Thank you so, so much. And thank you for those who hit the like button. I'll holler back at y'all later.